Welcome to This Week in Guns, a podcast that covers the commentary on the latest firearms industry news, information, and buzz. Brought to you by the Firearms Radio Network. I'm your host, Jake Challen, president of FRN. You make the show possible. That's right. You simply click through our Amazon affiliate link the next time you're shopping online, and a small portion of your sale goes to supporting pro-gun shows like This Week in Guns. Well, we have a great panel this week. We have Chad from the Gun and Gear Review podcast. Hey, Chad.
Hey, Jake. How's it going today?
Great. And JW from the AR-15 podcast. Hey, Joe. Put your name, and it's only 2 letters.
It's only 2 letters. What's going on, guys? I am back at home just watching all the SHOT Show posts, pinging my Instagram feed. And I don't know. I get a little bit jealous.
Yeah, SHOT Show's in full swing. For those that don't know, this is like the premier event for the firearms industry, the largest place where you can see guns, gear, booth babes all in one place. And JW, you went last year, correct? Was that your first year?
It was my first and only so far. I went with Reed and met up with some of the other FRN guys. It was a little bit overwhelming. We were on our feet just nonstop the whole time. I don't know what it was, maybe 15,000, 20,000 steps a day. And we saw some really cool stuff. Got to meet up with guys that you might have talked to online or just kind of been industry contacts over the years. So it was a great opportunity for that. I just didn't have the vacation time to be able to get back out there again this year. But Reed and JD held down the fort for us and visited a whole bunch of booths.
Yeah, they're covering a bunch of stuff. I'm sure you guys are going to cover on your next few AR-15 podcasts. And we'll probably have Josh and John and Ebbs and many of the other guys that are there. Pretty much every guest I've ever had on This Week in Guns is currently at SHOT Show. So,
with all the parties going on every night, I figured we probably wouldn't get any of them streaming in from Vegas.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of good stories coming out, a lot of new firearms, so we're going to cover that this week. Patriot Patch Company makes this episode possible. You can check out our new pre-orders there at patriotpatch.co. You can also sign up for our email list and enter for a chance to win a free patch per month for a year. We draw one new winner every month, and currently are sending patches out to 3 or 4 winners. I'm waiting to hear back from one, so check your email. Make sure you don't use a fake email when you sign up for the email list. It doesn't do you any good when you win something. So patriotpatch.co. Let's get into the top stories this week. So SHOT Show Roundup, new order firearms and their N09 pistol line. JW, have you seen much about the new orders firearms company?
Not a bit. I haven't.
So they're a polymer pistol. They're to me they look like a FN copy almost.
For sure. Yeah, the grip's almost identical to an FN.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, and I never have seen anything about these until I read the show notes. I'm looking at this going, wait a second, I don't even know who these guys are. And when I looked at the pictures, I'm thinking FN, yep. And
the craziest thing that popped out to me was the barrel with a compensator on it, and the front sight is actually on the compensator rather than the slide.
Yeah, I wonder how that'll work.
That is weird.
Yeah.
So they're a Pennsylvania-based company, which is interesting. But yeah, I really haven't seen too much on them. They're jumping in the polymer striker fire pistol game here. So we'll have to see the next couple of years how things bear out for this new company. So next up, new from.
Go ahead,
No,
Jake.
go ahead, Chad. Sorry.
I was going to say on the N09, The thing I usually can't stand with new companies is you got to wait a few years to see if they're gonna kick it off with what they have, and then is there gonna be aftermarket support? I mean, sometimes you buy a gun like this and you can't even change the sights.
Or even magazine availability. I mean,
Right.
there's a lot of companies that they may have an okay handgun, but you can't find magazines for them. Then that can be a real issue. So new from Prime Manufacturing Group, the Strike pistol. This is another new polymer pistol, and is this
So it
real?
sounds like this is a reboot of the Arsenal Strike One, with some serious Salient involvement. So I don't know if Salient even has a website yet, but it sounds like they've ramped things up enough to be able to do a production gun like this. So they've kind of put their modification flavor and kind of custom slide look into a production gun that is less than $3,000 for a pistol. Looks like it's going to be actually less than $800. So yeah, I'll be eager to hear back from the guys that got to shoot it at range day.
So is that the gist of it? It's really just Salient Arms taking Arsenal Strike Ones and modifying them?
Yeah, and then kind of putting it into a production run level gun where they can actually crank some out,
Right.
and not be charging through the roof.
That's very interesting. So yeah, we'll see how that bears out. Hands-on with Honor Guard's pistol, another new polymer pistol, the Honor Guard, and I think we had talked about this one other time on this show, but this is a polymer pistol where it has like a glass breaker on the front, or I'm not sure what they describe it as, but
It's called the FIST, the FIST, Firearm with Integrated Standoff.
Oh, that's right. So if you put this in someone's chest and pull the trigger, it's not going to malfunction your firearm, right?
Right. Because everybody knows the best defensive maneuver against a handgun is to stick your hand right up against the barrel.
Right.
So you can't get away with that with the FIST technology.
Hey, it's got an added bonus, okay? You take this thing, you're carrying it, you unload it when your meat needs tenderized before you throw it on the grill or something. You know, you can always use your pistol.
Yeah, yeah. Do some muddling of some drinks.
Yeah.
It looks like it's got interchangeable back straps. It's got some very heavy slide serrations, and then really big print is Honor Guard in all caps on the slide, which doesn't look the greatest in my opinion.
Yeah, but it's got nice functions like you said, the grips, the cutouts for that go all the way across the slide over the tops. It's got good sights on it, so if you need to rack it off of your pants or whatever, they designed it for that. So I think this gun will actually maybe go somewhere, unlike maybe some of the others we'll talk about.
It's got a very interesting chassis system that is actually the serialized FFL item of the firearm, which can be easily swapped to other frames, I guess. So that may prove interesting if it catches on and they release other frames for it, I guess. Because then you could, have a sub compact or full size and just, if they made their frames where they're very affordable, where all you had to do is swap out this chassis system, that might be something to look at. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to, is whether it's even affordable to do that rather than just get another gun.
Right. Big news this year, Kimber Firearms releases another 1911. Oh, wait, I mean revolver. Kimber, that's right. Kimber Firearms releases a revolver.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Not that many people buy small revolvers, but I think there's a niche market for it. 6-shot 357. It kind of surprised me that Kimber came out with it. I mean, this is one of the few things that shot that I saw pictures of, and I'm like, huh, I'm surprised somebody's actually doing that. I mean, it looks decent. I'm
Yeah,
not big
it
into
looks pretty
revolvers.
heavy with what it's made out of. I don't know if it's necessarily your best concealed carry piece, just with the weight of it. Um, but it sounded like everybody's been real impressed with the trigger.
Yeah, that's what I had heard too.
I've heard or seen memes that Kimber's actually produced a firearm that works now, and it's a revolver.
No, when they were in Oregon, they produced rifles that worked.
Oh, that's right. They make rifles too. Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, is this a case of them really looking at their customer base and seeing what other kind of product offerings they can, put in their product line that their existing customer base may purchase? Is this the kind of thing the same guy that would buy $1,000 plus Kimber 1911, would this be their next purchase? I'm wondering. Maybe, maybe it's for their wife. Hey, his and her. I mean, I don't know. I
Yeah,
mean, that's not my mindset. I'm just saying, is that the mindset of their customer base? Maybe.
it might be, or they're looking at everybody else. Like Ruger brought out their years ago their LCR or whatever it was,
Mm.
and it's kind of one of those things. It's like if you want a revolver, there's good revolvers out there, and I guess if you want a Kimber, now you can get a revolver from them.
James Bond, watch out! SilencerCo's new 3D printed integrally suppressed pistol is out, and SilencerCo is to make their own pistols for the Maxim series from scratch. So if you've been watching any of the SHOT Show news, Media Day at the Range news, currently they have a 3D printed prototype of their SilencerCo uh, integrally suppressed 9mm. Now we saw a release of this earlier or later last year of them using a Smith & Wesson M&P as a donor, uh, I guess, frame chassis for this pistol, and now they have a 3D printed one, and I guess they're going to make their own pistol pretty much from scratch.
Yeah, they've in their SHOT Show booth. Saw some photos where they actually showed all the steps of their prototyping process to go into this design. It was like at one point they had a M9 in play. The last thing they pulled out on those. So what was that event? They like went out into international waters just so they could fire off some.
Yeah, it was an invite-only event on a yacht.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
they went out into international waters and they shot. Didn't they shoot like fake pirate boats or something?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, since then it's evolved. It's definitely not like in full injection molding production or anything like that. This is a 3D printed prototype. Um, I haven't seen footage of them shooting it. I'm sure they had one out on range day though.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I
that's
didn't
a
see
good
people.
point.
I didn't see people shooting it, but from the article, it sounded like somebody had shot it.
Maybe they had an invite-only event. For those that haven't been to SHOT, there's a lot of companies that will do shooting events. Many of them invite-only, other than Media Day at the range. Like I think doesn't SIG do one every year, and some of the other companies will do invite-only events for media throughout the week to go shoot stuff. So perhaps SilencerCo did that.
But yeah, I mean, this is definitely one that I'm going to be watching. It looks pretty modular, kind of like their Salvo 12 gauge cans, where you can shorten it up if you want or lengthen it out and get more sound reduction. Um, I heard somewhere maybe late 2016, getting production models out. Um, Definitely something I'm going to be watching though.
Yeah, I mean it's very ingenuitive, and they're really, SilencerCo is a company that's really thinking outside the box here, really trying new things, or at least rethinking things that have been done before but not successfully. Um, and I think they bring something really cool to the market here. And if we can ever get silencers to be more readily available, that maybe somehow get the tax stamps to go away. SilencerCo is doing a lot to push legislation in a lot of states to make suppressors legal. So, once suppressors are legal, more readily available, I can see stuff like this just flying off the shelves.
Yeah.
So, Zenith Firearms now shipping the MP5 rifle.
Yeah, so these are guys that'll import, I want to say Turkish MP5 clones. So they've just started importing, and I believe they're shipping pretty shortly here, a rifle version. It's basically your standard MP5, but with a big, long, skinny barrel sticking out the front to keep it over 16 inches. So you can shoot it like a rifle until you get your tax stamp, and then maybe chop it if you want and go the SBR route.
Or you can go the pistol route.
Yeah, you could just buy the pistol instead. Probably some issues chopping the barrel if you don't know what you're doing, just because it's not easy to just pop the barrel out and put another one right in. On the MP5, it's pressed in there pretty good. One thing one of my buddies mentioned today was that USPSA is working on developing a pistol caliber carbine class, a new set of rules for running MP5s, running all these 9mm ARs that are coming out. My buddy wasn't quite sure if they were going to do separate rules for rifle length, because there might be some advantage to running around with a short gun versus a long one. But if it did end up changing those rules for rifles versus SBRs, then it might be a good to stick with something like this that has that long barrel on it to keep you in that division.
Okay. You're breaking up a little bit there. Was he breaking up to you, Chad?
Yeah, he was breaking up to me too. I'm kind of in this and the next product we're going to talk about. I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of in the market for not getting a 9mm carbine. I guess maybe it's because I kind of have something similar, but it's just one of those things. I guess if USPSA does come out with their new, whatever you want to say it is, class or provisional class, then yeah, I just don't know if it'll stick around in USPSA though. It seems kind of like a fad.
So the next one here, you mentioned the Matrix Arms unveils a 9mm semi-auto rifle that takes Glock magazines.
Right. And I'm looking at either of them, and it's like, does USPSA really need it? I mean, we have like Speed Steel Challenge, whatever you want to call it around here, and they have a practical carbine class that it's nothing sanctioned, but you can take it out and shoot it if you want. So, and really, if you think about it, not all that many people do actually bring them out and shoot them. They're typically bringing the pistols out to shoot them. So, I guess if you want to shoot something subsonic and not a 300 blackout, pistol caliber carbines are kind of the way to go.
Yeah, it seems like everybody and their mother's coming out with some sort of AR clone that'll take Glock mags, it'll take MP5 mags. So having the competitive groups adopt those into their rule book, I could see it kind of finding a place for those builds that maybe are just kind of range toys for the most part.
Yeah, I did hear one thing today about like USPSA on their provisional from a different podcast I was listening to, and they're like, well, it's okay, but like USPSA has classifiers. How are you going to do an El Presidente with a rifle, so to speak, because you got to turn around and draw, and it's so their rules are kind of going to have to be different, I guess. But Yeah, there are a lot of them out there now, so I guess some matches might let you shoot one or two. They'll let you shoot your main pistol, and maybe you could shoot this as an extra for non-score or something.
Well, I just know if I'm doing an El Presidente, I need a M&P in both hands.
So if you do pick up one of those Glock compatible SBRs or carbines, you're gonna have to feed it with something. So rather than using your plain old Glock Magpul just came out with some extended ones.
Good segue. Yes.
All just ready to go out of the box, extended magazines. Whether you're competing in like an open class where you can run those mags nice and full, 21, 27 rounds.
Yeah, and they made them. I read that they were making them like USPSA legal, like their 27 round or whatever isn't a
the right
30
number
round.
of millimeters or whatever.
Right, for the 140 and 170, I think it is, depending on if you're running open or limited. And so they made them size-wise, not capacity-wise, which is pretty cool, because there's tons of Glocks being shot in matches that limit it has to fit in a box or magazine capacity. It's not really capacity, it's length of the magazine. So, yeah, I thought that was pretty cool that they came out with those that are the right size.
Yeah, I'm glad they added the extra holes along the side to figure out how many rounds you have in there. I did a USPSA match with the regular Magpul Glock mags, and I did it in production. There's no indicator to see that you've got 10 rounds in there, so you got to count them every single time. Really started thinking about pulling out a drill and figuring out where that 10 round mark was and drilling my own, because it was kind of a pain in the butt.
Yeah,
that's off after each round.
Yeah, because you got to basically take all of them out. What's left if you shoot a few out of them and then count 10 again. Yeah, It's nice that they did that. That's a big plus.
So these are coming at a pretty good price point, or right around $20, $22 for these extended mags. So that's coming in at almost a full $10 cheaper than the Glock mags, right?
Oh yeah, at least. Yeah, so look for those sometime this summer.
Kestrel 5 Series weather meters. This caught your eye, JW. What can you tell us?
Yeah, for sure. So the new thing about these weather meters is that you can get them with Bluetooth built right in to talk with any of your smartphone apps that do your ballistics. So typically you do some long-range shooting. You take your weather with your Kestrel, you got to type it in, maybe 3 or 4 different variables, need to type it into your computer. Might be kind of a pain in the butt. Ballistic AE is the app that I use the most. They actually just announced compatibility with these new Kestrel meters, so you can wirelessly update your ballistic computer based on the conditions from your Kestrel. So it just kind of speeds up the process that much more. And they've got a whole series of these kind of for every level of price point and feature set. So yeah, the guys that make these are just over in Ohio. I'm really looking forward to swinging by their place sometime and seeing the new Kestrels.
Yeah, I don't do much long range shooting, but I would probably do more if I had something like this so I could read wind and get a better idea of it. But the nice thing is with the Bluetooth, it goes straight to your phone and you're just on the app and everything's right there. It just makes it so much nicer.
It's really exciting to see more and more of these companies, especially newer companies, develop things, for smart technology, smartphones, Bluetooth.
You'll see some of the military stuff being compatible with like the Palm Pilots and the Windows mobile devices, those Trimble, real big rugged devices. But it's kind of been a while coming to see the iPhone, the Android compatibility, because most of us out there, that's what we got. We don't have another, I don't know, $1,000 to have a dedicated ballistic computer.
And who still has a Palm Pilot? So, new from Eurotech, precision rifle scopes.
Do they hold 0?
Yeah, I'm going to tread lightly here.
So yeah, EOTech is kind of taking some PR hits here lately, and Truth About Guns outlines that as well in their article. Um, you know, they say, it's kind of a big deal because it took 20 years for some of their findings to come to light. So we'll have to see.
It took Volkswagen a while too for their findings to come
Wow.
to light.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, I don't know. Can you hook these scopes up to your iPhone, and are they going to read the right zero?
Yeah.
Well, you know, I'm gonna say what I was talking about earlier is even though they may be a good scope, which time will tell, and they probably are, but I'm looking at the pictures in the article. They stuck it on a Ruger American rifle. I mean, if you're trying to sell a high quality scope, I would think that you would stick it on some other type of rifle.
Yeah, something a little higher end, maybe.
Yeah, possibly. I would think so, but maybe I'm wrong here.
So what price points are these coming in at? First of all, they're made in Japan. You have a option of either choosing a MOA or MIL option, mill option.
Yeah, you
Looks
got a
like
1 to 6, $1,300. A 2.5 to 10, that's $1,550, and then a 3.5 to 18 by 50. That's just over $1,600. They seem to have kind of your typical tactical scope features. The tactical turrets with the zero stops. You can get Horus reticles in them, which is cool.
So are
I
they
don't know.
are they going after maybe the higher end Vortex market? Maybe
It sounds a lot like that, yeah.
they're
Yeah,
trying
that
to
would
be
be my
like
guess.
because
From Night Force, maybe, kind of right in the Night Force range.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, we'll have to see. It's I mean, we're going to talk about this with another company that also took a big PR hit, but I mean, it's they have this. They're like, man, we got this big new launch for shot, these new precision rifle scopes, and then they have this big PR disaster. And I'm going to just skip down to Stag Arms. Turns out they were at SHOT Show. They actually had a booth at SHOT Show, and it's business as usual, at least according to the guys at the Stag Arms booth. They're like, yeah, we've had a little bit of trouble here, but we paid some fines, and now we're back up and running.
So what you're saying is somebody bought them out,
Prob-
or do they just pay fines just because?
I don't know. They tracked down all their machine guns and put numbers on them, and
Got a new engraver, and
Yeah,
I get
fired
it.
fired Bob the engraver. So I mean, their CEO is gone, and their manufacturing license was yanked by the ATF. So I don't know. Apparently, they got things straightened out, or are they in the
yeah, I mean, I've
process
heard
of
they're
getting
kind of
things
in
straightened out?
probation. They can extend their FFL until they sell, basically, and then whoever buys it has to get a new FFL or something like that. But they need to like change ownership. And I mean, it just came out in the last month or so, so it's understandable. It's going to take them a little bit to make that transition. But I mean, hey, they're at SHOT showing off guns. So
All right, 511 Tactical debuts women's leggings.
Are those like stretchy pants?
Yoga pants.
Yeah.
tactical yoga pants, yep.
Yep.
I guess they're a thing now.
Yoga pants with belt loops for your holsters and everything.
And with
A little bit of
integrated.
extra material around the knees.
Well, some of the yoga pants don't they have like integrated holsters, or I don't know, maybe that's another
Yeah,
brand I
yeah,
saw.
I've seen a couple of those.
Apparently they're a thing. I don't think they make my size, uh, but yeah. So
Hey, come on! They make capris or full length, so you got your options.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down with this. They've got like they call it abrasion panels, right on either side of the hips to resist like the pulling at the yoga pants that your holsters might do. Um,
You
yeah,
know, for women competitors, it really, I can't see why they wouldn't like these, especially in like the summer or something. Who knows? Maybe they'll be a big hit.
yeah, good for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to stay away from them. I'll just show up on the People at Walmart page. So, Booth Babes of SHOT Show 2016, day one. Who put this in
Oh,
here?
yeah. I don't know who put it in here, but it
Where did
wasn't
this come
me.
from?
Where did
I
this
think Jake. I think Jake put it in there on purpose.
yeah, no.
You know, I understand why people do this, but you know, some of them, yes, they're actual competitors or they work for the company. So, yes, I understand that. But I'm looking at this front day one page, and well, we have day two also. I'm looking at these going, okay, so we got 5 pictures. I think that's how many there are. And to me, I see one attractive lady.
Okay,
Uh,
we have to talk about the EAA Corp girls and the one on this one where she's like a
on number
cave
two.
woman, or no, day one.
Oh, okay.
The third photo down, she's like a cave. I don't know. How would you describe that?
Yeah, it's almost like
Something out of
Avatar meets I don't know.
she's out of Mad Max. Okay,
Yeah,
Oh,
then
that could
there you go.
be, yeah.
you know.
But if you've ever, if you've ever seen the EAA ads in magazines and stuff, and the girls they use in there, I always think they're the most bizarre looking models they could find. Like they went to like some Eastern European country and like picked out the bizarro group of models or something.
I think so. And then right below them, you got the Russian ladies showing off the AKs for the Red Army at Century Arms.
All right, day
So,
two, is day two any better? I don't know if I've even looked at day
yeah,
two.
actually, day two is better. It's not as bad. I mean, some of these are kind of iffy, but a lot of day two it looks like are actual employees or some of them, except that the Parazzi one at the bottom, we don't know what she is. It looks kind of like she's wearing like a cardboard dress or something. I don't know. But some of these others, like the Walther rifle,
Just for clarification, I googled her. She's on the USA shooting team.
the Walther lady.
No, the Parazzi one.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
see what I know. I said the second page is better. They look more like they're actually there because they work for the companies or something. But I'm looking at the Walther that this one lady's holding up, and she's an attractive lady, but I keep looking at the rifle thinking, man, I'd like to own one of those things. It looks like it might be an air rifle but it says it's a 22. So
Well,
hey,
then
what
she's
do I
doing
know?
her job.
So I don't know. This is probably still better than my Mullets of NRA show that I did last year. So
Yeah, okay, yeah, but you know, for all the ladies that watch your show, they don't want to. Where's their guys of shot show? I mean, there's got to be at least one lady that watches your show.
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay, never mind.
So 6 hour the P210 is now going to be made in the U.S. and New Hampshire.
Hey, I don't care where it's made. I want to shoot one of these things. It's been on my bucket list to shoot since I was probably 12. So maybe there's hope now that it's being made in the U.S. that I'll actually see one.
So FNH USA is now FN.
Okay.
I guess they've changed their name a little bit. They're now simply FN over
That's
here in
all.
America.
That's all anybody called them anyway.
I know. Well, I guess so. I guess pretty much wraps up our shot coverage. We'll have more in the coming weeks here as the guys return from shot and appear in the program. So I don't know. What were your guys' overall impression of shot 2016? Yeah.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to hearing from Reed. I really haven't been able to speak to him much. I know he got his hands on a couple pretty cool rifles. A couple guys are doing 308 ARs, more towards the lightweight, real slick sort of setup. Daniel Defense, Mega Arms. Looking forward to hearing his thoughts on those. The 308 ARs have kind of been out for long enough to get some refinement. There's been maybe some people have made decisions on which platform to use for compatibility. Things maybe aren't quite so proprietary as they were at one point. So yeah, I'm looking to forward to hear more about those. I'm sure we'll have a couple shows on the podcast about some of those new 308 ARs.
Yeah, from what I'm seeing from the pictures on my blown up, Facebook page and blown up Instagram pages, there's a few new things, but I haven't seen anything that's just blew my mind. I mean, the Kimber revolver was about the only thing that really shocked me that came out. I mean, I didn't expect them to do that. So, everything else was like, yeah, okay, it's just kind of gun stuff, and it's cool. Don't get me wrong, but it's nothing that caught my eye.
Well, last week I think Whitey put it as, "Oh, hey, look, there's more. The 2016, Civics are out. The new the new Dodges are out for 2016 or whatever. I mean, it's just every brand, kind of has a little tweak to their current offering to have something new on the market. So."
Yeah, I think that's a good analogy. I actually swung by the Detroit Auto Show last weekend. I had a buddy that works for Ford, had us up, and there's a couple concept cars out there, some really innovative things, but for the most part, it's just incremental upgrades, people adopting the latest kind of standard features. One of the things that I guess we didn't mention that kind of stuck out to me as more of a concept car sort of concept is the Cobalt Kinetics ARs. They had one that people were shooting on the range, and it was a very competition-specific build where it would automatically eject the magazine on the last round after it chambered it, and then as soon as you put the new magazine in, the bolt will go forward, so you actually don't have to run any sort of manipulations other than getting a click and putting a new magazine in. So there's some cool things. Definitely not good in all situations. Of course, you don't want your magazine just falling out. But if you're competing, that's one less thing to do to feed your gun.
Yeah, that's kind of innovative. Cobalt's done a few different things too. I don't know. Like you said with the magazines, they also made the forward assist drop the bolt on one of their models. So they're kind of reinventing certain aspects of the AR-15 platform, and having one of those that drops the mag, automatically holds the bolt open, you put a new one in, really for the competition market, it's spectacular. I'd love to shoot one and see how actually nice they are, or if it seems weird. I mean, kind of if you're looking at a lot of the 3-gun though, they put a 40-round mag in their AR and they never reload it anyway. How many times
are they actually reloading? Yeah.
Yeah, right. Unless you're going to some Iron Man match or something where they have 50 targets you got to shoot.
All right, well, we're going to move into some of the other non-SHOT Show articles, and quote of the day over on Truth About Guns a couple days ago was southern states, they're the real cause of the New York gun violence. These southern states with their weaker gun laws. It's because we have good, strict gun laws, so in a perfect world, there wouldn't be violence in New York City because, yeah.
Yeah, it's well, you gotta in today's day and age, you gotta blame somebody. So, I mean, they can't blame their own people for making the laws that make it so nobody can defend themselves. So, why not blame the South? Didn't they blame the South before years ago?
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, Chicago's the same situation. These, yeah. Well, they've been claiming that it's all these Indiana gun shows that are causing the gun violence in Chicago. So not quite southern, a little bit south of Chicago. So you know, we got to think. You know, wait, shouldn't there be more violence in the big metropolitan areas in the South, like Houston? Like if you do an analysis between Houston and Chicago, shouldn't they be about the same? But no, Houston is much more peaceful than Chicago.
Yeah, I would think so. I guess they just, like I said, they want somebody to blame.
Well,
Kind of their
it's
society.
really the hot weather, and the cold weather. It has
Hey,
something to do with global warming, I think.
hey, when I get hot, I get kind of upset if it gets above 100 here. So maybe there's some truth to that.
California bill seeks to limit one long gun sale per month. And then
Yeah.
California also seeks to ban the bullet button on all assault weapons.
So
For
does that
those of
mean?
you listening without video, there were a lot of air quotes in that statement there.
I was gonna say California just always makes me angry, but especially since they're so close, they always seem to want to move up here and bring their crap with them. Uh, but so if they're banning the bullet button, does that mean they get to go back to normal magazine release?
No, it means
Yeah,
that they have to be welded in solid.
yeah, I know.
So what's that mean? You have to open the upper off of your AR and feed the rounds in manually and then close it back. Oh my
I
goodness.
I think so.
No.
Yeah.
More California craziness. Judge rejects Obama's executive privilege claim over Fast and Furious records.
So he pulled out some executive order, executive privilege. I don't know if it was a full-on order, but he basically said, no, you can't have these records about Fast and Furious. Well, that didn't fly. So you can do things executively as the president, but just because you do them doesn't make them legal. They have to get tested through the courts, and this one was thrown out. And it turns out that the timing was actually right next to the latest Chapo raid of El Chapo and his stash of firearms. He had a Barrett 50 cal in his collection that had a serial number matching the Fast and Furious records.
Oh, I'm
Oh,
supposed to be.
yes.
Oh, wait, it says shocked in here. I'm shocked. I might as well just keel over from a heart attack.
Yeah, apparently
We let trickle right over the border.
the
Yeah.
Imagine
ATF
that.
is allowing Mexican drug thugs to purchase firearms from U.S. gun stores and apparently even funneling them to to some
El
of the
Chapo.
most notorious drug lords in Mexico.
I don't have anything to say on this except I am not surprised. Uh, most of us know all about the Fast and Furious, and rifles got sent down there. They're used by the drug lords. They kill Americans. Nobody seems to care except us. I just don't get it. So that El Chapo had a Barrett, I'm a little bit jealous because why won't the government give me a Barrett?
And then there's speculation, so is Sean Penn really a CIA agent? Body language expert reveals the truth behind El Chapo interview after studying actor during tell-all Charlie Rose chat.
I really hope that's not the caliber of our average intelligence asset.
Please no.
Can't get any more ridiculous than that.
Well, the only thing I find weird with this is for some reason the U.S. government and the Mexican government had problems finding El Chapo, but Sean Penn just calls him up, it sounds like, and says, "Oh, I want to do an interview," and they're like, "Oh, okay." Seems a little strange.
Hey, when there is a will, there is a way. So,
I guess.
okay, we are to the I'm offended section. I'm not necessarily offended. Sometimes I am, but someone in these articles are offended. So let's go to the Mojave Park Ranger who bought 9 full auto Colt M4s and 24 grenades.
Nice.
A park ranger.
Well,
It must be one hell of a bear problem up there.
And the thing is it sounded like the grenades are flash grenades is kind of what it sounded like, I guess, to scare the bears off.
Yeah.
But how do they get this through? I mean, he just calls up somebody and says, "Hey, I need some Colt M4s," and they decide, "Oh yeah, sure." What's the deal with this?
So apparently the purchases did violate Park Service policy, which specifies semi-automatic rifles and requires prior approval for defensive equipment, although the policy doesn't specifically mention flashbang grenades.
So, and this is in California of all places. I mean, it's even harder to get one of these things in that state, I think. So,
not if you're a park ranger.
Maybe park rangers have something we don't know. I'm kind of offended though because they let stuff like this go through, but yet we got to pay $15,000 to $20,000 for one, and that's tax stamp and wait 6 months average. So I'm a little offended when somebody gets to buy them for $1,000 a piece.
So someone does bring up the point that there is, kind of the Mojave Desert, the high desert, is kind of known for body dumping by the mob and other, nefarious characters. So.
Oh yeah, and they probably get a lot of crackheads brewing up drugs out in, just in their trailers out in the middle of the desert. So, I mean, if he'd bought them with the proper stuff, he probably wouldn't be even made the news. I mean, some park rangers, I mean, probably should have these. I don't know if this guy should, but I don't see a problem with it.
All right, so one Larry Vickers was very offended that no one knew who he was at the Ruger booth at SHOT Show this year.
Yeah, we all kind of found out about this on a Facebook post that he made. Pretty long post about setting up with his crew to do some filming to see Ruger's new pistol, and he kind of got handed off from one intern to the next, and they weren't really giving him the time of day, and he just said, "Okay, you know what? I'll move on." He's got a whole big production team behind him, and I'm sure he's got a pretty busy day. So he packed up and left and decided to share with the world about it. I think Ruger's probably kicking themselves over this one. But one of the funny things that actually came up after was Larry just went full on with it. He reposted a meme that somebody had made involving him and Snicker bars and the Sons of Guns guys, something maybe not really in the best taste, involving some familial relations that are currently working their way through the court systems. People kind of going after him for it, and him just saying, "You know what? Lighten up, dude. It's a joke." Kind of typical Larry.
Yeah, the thing is if I worked for Ruger, I wouldn't know who he was, but I would treat him different because he's got a media badge on, I'm sure, and he's setting up stuff. So, hey, if you want to look good for the camera and get your product out there, I would think that you would not care who he was. You would just be like, oh, this is what we're here for.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to go to shop maybe next year and just, every booth I go to, don't you know who I am? So, yeah, you'll have to check out the Every Days, No Days Off post about this too. It's in the show notes. It's pretty funny. So we
Yeah,
got
so
an
this is the I'm offended section. I think this is the one that I'm the most offended by.
This one, the update from the Civilian Marksmanship Program, the CMP, on the 1911 prices.
Yeah, so they interview the dude that's, I guess, in charge of the system here, and he's saying that, okay, so same as with the Garans, you've got different levels of grading. You've got like the run over and chewed up by a tractor grade, all the way up to the like brand new stock, new barrel, all that. He's saying the entry level 1911s, surplus 1911s from the 40s or whatever, are going to be over $1,000 a piece.
Nuts.
Like, are you kidding me?
That can't be right. There's no way.
No way.
Yeah,
And then they just go right on up from there. So I mean, right now you can get a Garand for $630 from the CMP.
Yeah, now if they wanted $630 for your general beat to hell 1911, okay, that's at least kind of on par with what you would think. But
I don't know. The whole point of the program is to get civilians into marksmanship. I wonder why they call it the CMP.
Sell them cheap.
So you want to pass along these firearms that were already bought and paid for by the U.S. citizen, to pass them back along to legal, lawful club owners that are going to use them. They're going to teach their kids how to shoot. They're going to hold on to them as a great piece of history. I don't know if they're just trying to like curtail the gun show markup that's bound to happen with these CMP guns, or maybe they just got some bad info, because there's no way.
Well, they're supposed to get a ton of them. They're supposed to get up to 10,000 the first year, right?
Hey,
So,
they said in the article they're only maybe getting 10,000 a year.
Yeah,
They've been authorized to get up to 100,000, and it's it's disappointing.
All right,
I'm offended.
As always, we're offended, and we have way too much to cover. So we have a big overflow section you can check out at thisweekinguns.com/150. As soon as the show is posted tomorrow morning, that will be live. You can contribute to the Firearms Radio Network and This Week in Guns by shopping our Amazon affiliate link by clicking the Amazon banners on our website or bookmarking firearmsradio.tv/Amazon. We are to the full auto news segment, stories the real media won't talk about, and other crazy stuff. So this is where we each pick a story to call our own. Who's ready?
Is anybody ready?
I'm gonna do the one from Alaska, from my home state here, up in Anchorage, which is the biggest town there in Alaska. They have a guy who is a cook at a local pizza shop. He was in the mall. Evidently, there was a security guard that was trying to take down this shoplifting suspect, and the suspect pulled a gun on the security guard, unarmed security guard. This guy stepped out to assist the security guard. He was a lawful concealed carrier, drew his gun on the perp, who dropped his gun, kind of kicked it out of the way, just really helped this security guard get the situation under control. Holstered up, talked to the cops when they showed up. Everybody went home safe, no shots were fired. The article here from Alaska Dispatch actually went into details about how he considered his background. He wasn't putting himself in a position where if he did let off a round into the bad guy, that it could potentially go out into other shoppers. It was a really nice article, kind of covering their bases, saying, hey, this is a lawful citizen. He's a young guy, but he's been carrying since he turned 18 when it was legal to do so. Just a great defensive gun use, and one that, I mean, you just don't hear about these things. The media just kind of doesn't like to hear it.
That's right. Alaska is a constitutional carry state. You don't need a permit to carry, correct?
Correctamundo.
All right, Chad, what do you got?
Oh, I had a tough choice deciding, but I'm going with the A10 Warthog survives the chopping block again, because this is a gun, podcast. So how can we not say something about the lovely A10, which is an airplane designed around a gun, as everybody always tells you. But it looks like the Air Force reported to temporarily call off its campaign to retire the A-10. I guess they finally figured out that the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter is either way too expensive or can't actually do what it needs to. It looks like they found out that its capabilities are basically, I can't find the right word for it, but they want invaluable is what they said. That's pretty much true. And I've never been in the military or anything to that effect, but I have talked to people and they say that the A-10 is just, for ground support, is one of the planes that you cannot take for granted. It comes in, it sounds cool. I've actually gone to Oshkosh. Yep, gone to Oshkosh before and got to see one of these things close up. And, you just stand there and you look at this gun and it's just, I mean, the rifling on this thing is like 3/8 of an inch, and it's just this huge barrel just staring at you, and you're like, whatever gets shoved through that is going to put a world of hurt on somebody. And
Well,
it's a
can't
plane
really
built around a gun.
I mean, what's going on here? I mean, Congress has given explicit instructions to keep the jet in service, but the Air Force is going at great lengths here, according to this article, to rid itself of the A-10. Meanwhile, you have combat commanders demanding the A-10 services in the field in Iraq, Syria, and Korea. So, there seems to be a big disconnect here. And it says that these tests, comparison tests that Pentagon has been running between the A-10 and F-35 have been effectively rigged to point favor at the new F-35.
Who knows? You can never tell. I think the Air Force is the only service that actually runs the A-10s, though. I don't believe the Army has any. So that might be something to do with it. I think if the Army had them, they'd push harder to keep them. The Air Force, I guess they want everything that's new and exciting. I mean, I can understand that.
Got to involve money or something. There's more to this that we're going to see come out later, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with how 4 U.S. attack helicopters were destroyed due to geotagged photos. So this is coming out now, but this actually happened a little while back when a base in Iraq in 2007 got a fleet of new H-64 Apache helicopters. And celebrating their arrival, some of the troops took photos and uploaded them to social media. Well, terrorists were able to extract the location data, the geotags of the photos, and launch a surprise mortar attack, and 4 of these Apaches were completely destroyed. So after that, the American forces were like, yeah, troops, you should probably disable geolocation on your phones and stop taking pictures of things in operational locations.
Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised they didn't have something already that stated something like that. that, don't take pictures of the stuff, don't post them anyway. But I guess people figured, there's just a helicopter. There's 5 million pictures of them already. So it's kind of a bum deal for us.
All right, JW, do you have another?
One I wanted to mention was the Troll So Hard movie. I guess I watched this last night. It just dropped on Vimeo.
Yeah, our own Josh of Four Guys Guns had a big hand in this. He wrote the script for it.
Exactly. Yeah. I saw some fantastic guns in it. I saw the Nemo arms. I want to say it's a WinMag AR with the US optic scope on it that they gave away. There's a lot of cool product. There was, I think that's a Little Bird, the chopper that they were flying. All sorts of cool stuff. So a nice little promo / creative video. We'll throw a link to it up. So yeah, that's got a whole lot of kind of push on Instagram leading up to it. So it'll be interesting to see where they go with it, if they kind of make this a episode sort of a thing where they put out new stuff featuring other companies, or kind of how they take it.
Okay. Any other stories you want to hit?
Oh yeah, I gotta hit this one. I gotta hit the Pablo Escobar Miami Beach mansion torn down. Okay, the only reason I want to hit this one is I could care less if his mansion got torn down because the people that bought it want to do something with the property. I don't really care about that. What I care about is, if anybody knows anything about Pablo Escobar, he makes El Chapo look like he's an ant. And, he was like the biggest drug kingpin like ever, I think, and just had cash everywhere.
He has a net worth of $30 billion with a B. $30 billion.
Exactly. And you can read the stories about him everywhere. The CIA even attempted to kill him, I think, more than once. Even the History Channel has a show about it, or did. So you could probably look that up. But yeah, it's in South Beach, Florida. Basically, it was bought in the 80s, when all the drug stuff was huge down there. And him being the huge drug kingpin, hey. And they tore it down, so I don't know. The only thing I don't like about it is, why do you paint it pink?
Well, no, there's some funny things about this article. So it was seized in 1987 by the feds. It's a 6,500 square foot, 4-bedroom home. It doesn't say how big the property is. But so the feds have had it between 1987 and 2 years ago. So
right.
They've held on to it for like 20 years almost. And the goofy thing is, here, an NBC anchor and her husband or wife anyways, TV personality, TV anchor, they bought this for $9.65 million, 9.65, but they did not realize the home's history. They were unaware that this was Pablo Escobar's mansion, and
the walls were just insulated with cocaine.
Right. I'm like, you're gonna pay almost $10 million for a property and not know that, and then you're tearing, or is that why they're tearing it down? Because they're like, oh my God. But the funny thing is, before they tore it down, they hired treasure hunters to go through the entire place looking for hidden cash and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. And I'm just going to, this last line of the article is just perfect for, the big drug kingpin. Escobar was said to have net worth $30 billion. We already said that. Plenty enough for an endless supply of cocaine, guns, hookers, and whatever else notorious drug lords may fancy. And that probably about sums it up.
Right. Any other full auto stories we have to cover this week?
I got nothing.
Yeah, there's some good ones. Like the Facebook gun selfie that lands convicted felon another 15 years.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
that's a classic. Uh,
That's not that uncommon anymore, though, it seems like.
okay. So Patriot Patch Company makes this episode possible. Check out patriotpatch.co. We have some awesome t-shirts over there. The Double Tapper t-shirt, the Full Auto Freedom t-shirt, and the Come and Take It Junior t-shirt. Check it out, patriotpatch.co, and check out those new pre-orders that are live over there. Well, that about wraps us up. So what have you guys been up to? JW, what have you been up to on the Air 15 podcast and other things?
Well, we just had US Optics on the show. That's our latest episode out. Like I said, we're looking forward to having some of the guys that Reed and JD got to talk to at SHOT on the show. We'll talk about what they saw in the next couple weeks here. I don't really have any builds that I'm working on, so I don't know. I've kind of been throwing around the idea of doing a vintage Vietnam SBR, one of those Colts with the real short stock and the shortened triangular handguard and everything, with the A1 carry handle and all that. I don't know. I just don't really have anything else in mind here for a build.
Sounds like Air 15 podcast problems.
Yeah.
Anyway, where can people connect with you, find you online?
I'm on Instagram quite often, just at JWRamp. The guys have been posting from SHOT at AR15 Podcast. Obviously, we're on Facebook, all of that, AR15podcast.com. And we are part of the Fire Hose stream. If you hop on firearmsradio.tv and get on the iTunes stream of all the shows, we're there.
And Chad, what's up? The Gun and Gear Review Podcast?
Well, we're still talking about new stuff, doing reviews as normal. Ryan's, keeping us in line. I did a review on a trigger. It was a Hyperfire duty trigger. I guess we got the first review out of anybody, so that was kind of cool. Got
really,
some other reviews.
Hyperfire duty trigger. So how's that different from their other triggers?
It's literally kind of explains it. It's a duty trigger, so it's kind of a weird adjustable pull. It's got a weird shaped trigger shoe, I guess is how you put it. And so you can get precise shots on the flat part of the bottom, and then just if you're hosing targets up close, you can just use the regular trigger shoe, so to speak. It lightens up the trigger between 3.5 to 5.5 pounds, and so you can use it for like duty guns, police, military. It's not just one of their super light competition triggers is basically what it is. So it's actually, I really liked it. It's a nice trigger. Excellent reset is probably the best thing about it, and I like positive resets on them. I got some stuff into review. Some people sent me some more stuff, so when I get time, I'll review them, type them up, put them on the Gun and Gear Review podcast review site, and probably say stuff about them on the podcast.
Yeah, it's firearmsinsider.tv, and like you said, Ryan Cross heads that up, and we're actually working on redesigning the Firearms Insider reviews, so should be launching that in the next month or so, I hope. So
yeah, you're gonna screw them all up for me. Just when I get the hang of them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very cool. Well, that about wraps us up. Leave your feedback by commenting in the bottom of the show notes here and YouTube if you're watching there, or at thisweekinguns.com/150. Please leave us the iTunes review and contribute to the show using our Amazon affiliate link, and listen to all the other awesome shows here on the Firearms Radio Network. Well, thank you, JW.
Yeah, I had a great time.
And thank you, Chad.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And that's a wrap. We'll see you next week.